Okay, I'm going to show you the catch wrestling way of getting out of Kesa Gatame. Brute force and ignorance to a degree, a little bit of technique. I'm not taking his back or doing anything clever. I'm just not allowing my shoulders to go to the floor, and I'm putting his shoulders flat on the floor. Would be a pin. Okay, so the two last Kesa Gatame escapes, quite clever and quite technical. He's the biggest, stronger guy, really, to be honest. Okay, so again, Graham's going to get into Kesa Gatame. Hands on head, call it scaffold. Right, it's nice and tight. He's got his fingers in there, everything's tight. He's keeping his head over my head. He's not letting this shoulder get to the ground. It's a pin, all right? I'm going to hold my wrist. One of the reasons why I hold my wrist if I was catch wrestling is it stops him pinning this shoulder. If I go here and lift, then this opposite shoulder is off the ground all the time. So he isn't scoring points on me at the moment, really. Okay, it depends how you look at it, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and go and get Graham's legs. As I try and go and get Graham's legs, he's going to take his hips away from me as I go. So he's going to scoot his hips around. So obviously what would happen is we'd walk around in a big circle for quite a while I try and run my hips towards him. What we're going to do is we're going to imagine that I've managed to catch up with him. So I've run my hips all the way around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull everything tight so his head comes even tighter to mine. Watch what my knee does now. I'm going to scoot and I'm going to put my hip underneath his hip. This is really important, okay? I lift and I run my hip underneath his hip. If I get my hip underneath his hip, the bridge roll is pretty 100% in, okay? It doesn't matter where his head and his control is. So I'll do that one more time. I'm going to run up behind him and I bridge and I lift him onto my hip, putting my knee through the center, okay? He's stuck now. He really is stuck. He's going to go up. What I do is I'm going to bridge on the ground, I'm going to bridge on the side of my head, and I take him up, and I take him over. And I land in side control, okay, or broken scarf, whatever you want to call it. The hip load is really important. Oh, that's what I've been told anyway. So I'll do it one more time. Better not. Okay, so he goes to Kesa Gatame. I'm here. Everything's nice and tight. He's good. He's getting my shoulder off the ground. I'm really struggling to get to his back. If I can't get the shoulder to the ground, I'm pinned. All right? To stop me losing points in wrestling or whatever, I grab hold of my wrist and it protects the arm and I lift my shoulder. Can you see how the shoulder's lifted off the ground and I keep everything tight? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chase his hips. Graham, in essence, would run away from this to try and maintain his pin. But what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that I've caught up with Graham. When I catch up with Graham, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to lift him towards me and get my hip underneath his hip. So my knee and my hip, I've loaded his hips on my hips. If I don't get there, and he's a good wrestler, there's no way I'm going to sweep him. Okay? If I go and sweep him here, there's no way. Alright? So I have to pull him towards me and get my hip underneath his hip. Once my hip is underneath his hip, I'm then going to bridge on the back of my head and take him over the top. And I land here in side control and build my base. Okay? So, it's a different way of escaping Kesa Gatame. Biggest secret is loading that hip. If you don't load that hip, you ain't escaping. If he's good at lifting that shoulder and pinning those arms, you're going to have to do a wrestle-based escape. Right? If he's just going to hold you for 4 minutes in that position, you're going to have to do a wrestle-based escape. So, that's my Kesa Gatame escapes. Don't think we need any more, do we? That's enough? That's enough. Well, we could take it back if we want, but you can learn off anyway.